Hello everyone, and welcome to a World of Tanks tank review with me, Scopetactics. Now, this is something I wanted to do for quite a while, but there are a lot of people doing it, and I didn't know how good I would be at doing it, but I'm going to give it a try. So I decided to review something that I've been enjoying quite a lot lately, and I don't know how many people are actually still playing self-propelled guns, but I like them, and I kind of want all the British tier 10s. So, being a bit of a collector, I persevered. If you can call persevere and go into the first 4 or 5 tiers. But I came to this little tank, and I've got to say, I wasn't expecting much from it. As far as I could see, the only redeeming factor this tank had, or the interesting thing, was it had a turret. As you can see, it's 360 degrees, which means that aiming and relocating are made pretty easy. Especially compared to other self-propelled guns. Now, you're only tier 4, so don't be expecting a hell of a lot from a tank like this. But anyway, let's go through the stats. So, typical artillery, you're not expected to have much health, especially after the arty nerf patch, which I think was 8.7. 190 HP. So you'll be surviving 3 or 4 shots from lower tier tanks will reach you, if you're lucky. You don't expect to survive too much in an artillery anyway, especially if you're counter batteried, but that shouldn't be too much of a risk at this point, because you're only tier 4, and if the other players are, higher tier players playing lower tier games, they still might not have the range to reach you anyway. But if they did, and they have a direct hit, it's obviously a one-hit kill. Weight load limit doesn't really matter on artillery, neither does the engine power. Now, don't take notice of that speed limit. Even though I just said don't take notice of the engine power, it's only 110. I'm not sure what the horsepower per ton is, and I can't seem to find a way to figure it out. But the most I've ever been able to achieve on flat ground is about 20 kilometers an hour. You'll reach 45 going downhill, more than likely. The 18 traverse speed, I don't really think that's accurate either. Going back on flat ground, you get about 10. So this isn't it's not as sluggish as the other tanks. Well, artillery, but don't expect to be speeding around the map like a Panzer 1C. Hull armor, 6mm all round. I think that is the same as the... Yep, same hull armor as the Vickers Medium Mark 1, if you want an idea of how bad that is. Nothing is going to have trouble penetrating you at any range, most likely. And now we come across the interesting bit, the standard shell damage. So, this is the top gun. Let me get the research tree up here. So this is the second gun you'll research, for 2250 XP. Now this gun isn't bad, the first gun you get. It's got a better rate of fire. It's got around the same stats. It's only a marginal improvement, but the upgraded gun does get an additional ammo type, which I believe is armor piercing. I'm not sure if the first one gets armor piercing, because it could well do, because that's quite a difference in damage. We'll see better accuracy on the second gun, same aiming time, slightly higher weight, but you can use this on the Bishop and the FV 3 or 4, which you need. So, why didn't I look? Yeah, you've got HE and armor piercing on both, but you've got premium armor piercing on here, which is slightly better. But don't rely on the armor piercing. If you get into a tier 6 game with this thing, the armor piercing will do you no good against tanks that the HE is not doing much against. I've shot at KV-1Ss and ARL-44s in this thing without AP ammo, and it did bugger all. You're better off just slamming HE after HE into them, hoping to damage their modules. So enough about the guns. Radio range on the top radio, 550 from 400. This is unlocked on a hell of a lot of other tanks, so chances are you have it already if you've played the Brits at all. the engine is... It's only an increase in 20 horsepower, or engine power. Pretty pitiful. You don't really need the engine if you don't want it, but I like Elite in my tanks. I don't think you need the tracks if you just want the gun and the radio. Pretty sure you don't. Well, let's find out, shall we? No, you can mount everything with the normal tracks. So only get the upgraded tracks if you look into Elite the vehicle, or if you want to mount modules or equipment, which I personally did. I haven't got it mounted now because they're on my Bishop. But I had some spare equipment lying around, and I equipped a camouflage net, medium caliber artillery shell rammer, and an enhanced gun lane drive. Obviously, if you haven't got them spare, they're very expensive, and we're only a tier 4. But even though... Let's get this gun up again. Even though it isn't the greatest damage, I mean, if you compare it against something like... let's look at another tier 4 artillery. What have we got? The Germans. Germans have got a very good artillery there, with the 410 damage on the little howitzer. That is the same as well, yeah. I think the French get around the same gun as that too. I haven't actually unlocked that yet, but it does slightly more damage. The standard gun is basically the same as the Germans. Russians, what do they get? SU-5. Lots of different guns there. Well, the Top Gun, let's look at the Top Gun for argument's sake. Most of the Top Guns do around between 130 and 170 more damage than the Birch gun. But what the Birch gun has over the other guns is rapid fire. Now that may not sound very good. You know, artillery, one-shot monster damage. But the thing is, what I've learned about the British is their guns are designed to be fast firing. Well, no, let me put that another way. Let's look at the tech tree. I know myself and maybe a few other tankers have been struggling to work out what the British thing is in artillery. You know, the Germans have accuracy, the Americans have monster splash damage, the Russians have big derp guns, the French have autoloaders on the top tiers and rate of fire. Obviously the Chinese don't have any. But the British thing, from tiers 2 to 5, they are pretty slow, not very manoeuvrable, fast firing guns. Fairly accurate, fairly good aiming time, 4.5 seconds. We'll compare that to the Germans, and that's a 5.5 second aiming time. The French, 5.5, American, 5.5. So it's about... Ooh, is the Top Gun on that the same? No, it's got a 6.5 second aiming time. So it's not a bad gun. And obviously the main advantage with this is that you have 360-degree turret, which obviously means that your aiming time, your aiming reticule isn't going to go, you know, back to maximum every time you move an inch, because obviously you don't have to move your hull. So it's very handy. You know, you can rip off the tracks of the first shot, and then you can just keep hammering them. Most tanks don't get away. And even though this tank isn't that powerful, I found it to be very useful against tanks like KV-1s, Churchills. Although the Churchills have got quite a lot of health, they can take a bit of a beating. But if you get a good hit on them, you do about 55 to 100 damage with the HE. Personally, I wouldn't bother with the armor piercing. Everything I've hit with this seemed to bounce. I'm not sure if that's because of the angle or that I was trying to use against tier 5 and 6 tanks. Personally, if they're around the same tier as you, just stick with HE. You don't really need any consumables, I just had them on there. Turret traverse speed, not bad. Obviously, there isn't any actual traverse speed you need to worry about, because even though it's slightly faster, you're not going to be moving about too much in this thing because of the turret. So, let's get the crew skills up, shall we? If you intend to use this thing, just get 2 gunners, a driver, 2 loaders and a commander. So obviously loader skills, nobody likes the loader. But what I'd recommend is, I wouldn't recommend any of these. I would recommend camouflage for all the crew members until you reach 100%, obviously. The gunner, or the driver, again, I wouldn't recommend camouflage for him, you know, permanently. But for these skills, you don't need clutch braking. Smooth ride could come in handy if you're caught with your pants down, but I don't think that's really necessary. In fact, I don't think any of these are really necessary. Smooth ride could come in handy, but I think you're better off not being seen in the first place. So camouflage for the driver as well. What have we got for the gunner? You probably want snapshot, because especially with a 360-degree turret, that's going to be especially useful on the Birch gun. Something I'd recommend anyway. Deadeye, it could be handy. Wouldn't recommend anything else, but remember that snapshot is a skill. So if you prefer to have that marginally increase instead of camouflage, then have that. Or because you've got 2 gunners, you could have one with snapshot and another with camouflage. Same with the loaders, although the loaders don't really have any skills. I'd put camouflage on both the loaders, to be honest. Commander, stick camouflage on him first. Then, I know everybody else is a fan of Sixth Sense, but I quite like Mentor. Obviously Sixth Sense is extremely handy, but it only comes into effect on the perk when it reaches 100% because it's a perk. Skills start immediately, perks come into effect at 100%. Jack of all trades, I don't think that'd be any good. Eagle Eye, never used it. Recon could be handy, but I don't think that's really necessary. You're probably better off going with Mental, and you could put that on instead of camouflage because it's a skill. But if you wanted to, once they all reach 100%, you could retrain everyone in Brothers in Arms. Because that's basically the same as putting on a ventilation piece of equipment, improved ventilation, which gives a 5% skill bonus in every aspect of the vehicle, as long as all the crew members are alive. I think it actually still works even if they're dead or one of the crew members is dead, but that's going to be changed in a patch in the future, unfortunately, because it's going to mean that Brothers in Arms is not as good. Obviously for artillery, if you get hit once, you're probably dead anyway. But this little SPG is quite capable of defending itself in close quarters. Anyway, I think we've talked about this little beauty in the garage long enough. I think it's about time I showed you some gameplay in it. So let's jump to that. Okay, so this was a pretty good game I had in my Birch gun. And I know you all want to see some gameplay. So we'll just let the camera do whatever I was doing in the game. Then we'll see exactly how good of a game I had. Obviously, one unusual thing about the British guns is that they have quite an unusually high gun arc. So you can shoot over quite a lot of objects other artilleries would trouble with. But you can see it's a very tier 3 game. There's a tier 4s on most of the sides, but I start off by reversing straight into the bushes because I don't really play artillery on this map much. I thought, what better way to do than to sit in the bushes with my camera like a right scumbag. Obviously that's why my camera is facing the wrong way. But yeah, all the enemy tanks on their team have pretty poor armour apart from the Matilda. So I think, oh well, they're all going to come up this bit at the start, obviously. As you can see, our team have all gone to the right-hand side, which makes me a bit worried at the start, which is why I ping out E3. Well, let me just check, actually, because I'm pretty sure that this guy right here is the Valentine AT. And he comes in quite useful. So, you know, I'm still waiting here. I think, oh, there's only one tank over there. Obviously, they'll be able to take him. Gets destroyed. Then I see somebody charging straight to the middle. And I think, oh, well, they're all suitably occupied, so I'll try and take out this guy. But the Su-85B takes him out before I can even aim in. Now, notice that the actual aiming circle of this tank is not that big. You can pull off miracle clutch shots if you're lucky. And if you're wondering how I'm looking around while keeping my aiming reticule there, I'm holding in the right mouse button, which is very handy in your artillery if you want to have a quick look without adjusting your entire hull in most cases. So I might take a shot at that tank, seeing if he's still there. I think we hit him for like 8%. My memory is that poor, I can't remember if he was on 100 when we shot at him, or whether somebody else damaged him. Try to get another one in before he goes into cover, but I don't think we succeed. Oh, can we get a shot on him? Oh yes, big hit there. Unfortunately it wasn't enough to save our teammate. I'm not sure what you guys think about me having all the names on, by the way, but I don't see any problem with it. If any of you recognise yourself from one of these games, you can say, hey, that was me. You know, as long as you weren't doing anything bad. I won't call anybody out for being bad players, I don't believe in that. We're only in lower tier games. And unfortunately we hit him. Is that the M3 Lee? It is, isn't it? Yeah, we hit him square on the front, I think, but we didn't manage to take 7% health. So obviously, see a tier 2 tank destroyer. If we hit him, he's dead. I'll try and take a miracle shot, but it misses, unfortunately. I know this isn't as exciting as most games you see in artillery, but I don't think artillery gets enough coverage, damn it. Another tank destroyer here, obviously being lower tier, most of them are open top. Smash him in the side, but we don't kill him, which is unfortunate. Got a light tank, and I'm pretty sure this guy was causing a hell of a lot of trouble for a team. Obviously unlucky hit against the side of the building there, and he obviously knows I'm there. He wasn't a bad player. Just fire a little bit late to finish off the Su-85B there. No, that wasn't the guy who was giving everybody a lot of trouble then. Obviously, considering the right side had loads of tanks in it, they all crumpled pretty quickly, and we still got a pretty solid defense on the left side. We see the AMX-40 not very happy with us. And it's not looking good at this point. Got one tank on the right hand side, and I think that's the Matilda, which nobody can seem to do any damage to. Matilda's been a very tough little nut to crack if they're top tier. There's a little tank destroyer there, see if we can get a hit on him. Obviously the aim time seems long, but it's not that bad. And that little French tank destroyer becomes a pain in the butt. So people don't realise it's so small. I'll just take a random shot at him. I knew we wouldn't hit, but we have to try and do something. So he dies as well. Go for the artillery. I think we actually... Do we get the artillery? Yeah, we got a bit of a miracle shot there on him. And because of the fast aim time and the fast reload time, I think we finish him off. Yep. Obviously we tracked him on the first miracle shot, and that's what the Birch gun is really good at. Rip it off the tracks in one shot and then following up with rapid fire before they can repair their tracks and get away. Obviously sometimes it doesn't work, and at this point it's neck and neck. The Valentine AT is still sitting up on the hill to the left of us with 4 kills, and the Panzer III I think is either going to try and cap, but I'm pretty sure that little UE-57 takes him out. Obviously, I'm pretty worried at this point because the Matilda went somewhere in the middle of the map and nobody's seen him since. There's an Su-85B skulking around somewhere, and the only person I have any idea of is the UE-57. I thought that was actually the UE-57. Oh, it was. So that was the UE-57 there, but the Su-85B destroyed him. Actually didn't realise that when I was playing the game. You may not have noticed as well, but the range on the Birch gun is pretty damn good. For a tier 4, it's remarkable. I think you can get about 950 meters in this thing, I think, which is enough to cover most maps diagonally corner to corner. Obviously now me and this guy are just sitting here thinking, it's probably all over. 1 artillery and 1 tank destroyer against a Matilda which hasn't been scratched, an Su-85B and a UE-57. So I'm not sure how long we sit here. Let's see if we can speed it up a bit, shall we? Without increasing the map. How the hell do we speed it up? It's not that. Well, I think if we do actually increase the map, I think the Su-85B and the UE-57, I think the Su-85B is coming somewhere along here, and the UE-57, I don't think he's gone all the way up and over, I think he's probably trying to come straight through. I have no idea where the Matilda is. I think he was here last time we saw him. So, he's probably going to be skulking around here, maybe making his way down the centre, since he saw everybody else is dead, which would not be a bad move. But to be honest, I know it might not be the most exciting replay here, but I don't like speeding up games. I like to see everything real time. And obviously I'm still sitting here thinking, you know, this Valentine AT at least is pretty competent, considering he's got 4 kills. But then again, you know, he could have just been camping there, picking off other people's kills. But I have faith in him. Obviously you have to, if it's just you and somebody else left. You can't be too picky with your teammates. And here is where the action begins. I spot this cheeky little Su-85B, and here I think it's all over. Well, obviously he spotted me. Or so I think. I think the Valentine AT takes a shot at him there. Either that or he spotted me. But 1-shot kill. So now I know they're bound to know where I am, and I don't want to take any fire, so I try and get behind the rock. I'm pretty safe here, because if they had a firing position on me, I would have seen them by now. So I'm guessing they're both still in the town. And here comes the little UE-57, the tiny little French tank destroyer. And I don't think he knew that I had a turret, because he tries to come around behind me. Boom. Blow him to pieces. Even though it's looking better now, we still have the Matilda, as I say in the chat, with 1 left. And that Matilda is unscratched and nobody knows where he is. So I decide that, you know, I hang around here for a bit, being a bit cautious because I don't want to just roll out into the Matilda's fire. As you know, the Birch gun only has 6mm of armour all round. And that Matilda's got a very fast firing gun, which could rip me apart in 3 shots. So I reverse back pretty meekly into my bush. I think the best chance we've got is if I can get back into this bush, put my camo net up, because they didn't know where I was at the start. And lo and behold, there's a Matilda. Looks like somebody had a shot at him, but I know I've got to make these shots count because I don't want this Valentine AT to die. First shot does 30% odd damage, 101. If I get that wrong, I look like such an idiot. And we reload, shoot, and we blow him up. And that's the game. I was pretty pleased with that. So, let's go back to the garage, because I always take screenshots of these things. And let's see how we did, shall we? And it turns out that was a mastery badge game. Very nice game. You see, we did a lot of damage to a good few different tanks. Nice daily double, I think, of 2000 XP. Top of the team, with 715 XP, if you can't see that there, because I took a stupid screenshot. But yeah, a lot of damage on our team. Luckily, you can see the stats. 4 kills, 1040 damage, 715 XP. Quite a significant effort compared to everybody else on our team. 6 of which did no damage. 20 shots fired, 9 direct hits, 1 splash damage, 9 penetrations. 22,381 credits profit. Very nice. Well guys, that was it. Thank you for watching my review of the Birch gun. We get the Conqueror out of the way there. And I'll have another one of these coming up soon, because I actually quite enjoyed reviewing the Birch gun. I don't know if it was any good or not. I'd appreciate if you could tell me in the comments whether you want to see more, whether I'm absolute rubbish, whether I'm decent, whether you think I've got potential, anything like that. It all encourages me to make more content. But feel free to add me on World of Tanks, and, well, if you want to, you can look through my service record, and you can tell me just which tanks you want me to review. Even the ones I've done shit in. Because I have quite a lot of tanks that I may or may not be able to get access to replays to. If I can't and you really want to see it, then I'll try and get another gameplay for you. Because, obviously, I do this for fun, and I want you guys to really enjoy the content. So, if you, well, I could even jump into the Bishop, or if you look through my things, I do have a lot of premium tanks. As I mentioned in the video, I'm somewhat of a collector. So if there's anything you want to see, please mention it below. Subscribe for more, and please give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Until next time, thank you very much for watching.